Hey, in today's video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this recent Redfin housing market prediction. Let's start with their headline. Redfin predicts 2024 will be the year home buyers catch a break, with home prices falling and new listings rising. This is a prime example of why I hate it when they lead with exaggerated headlines. The reality is that a majority of the readers will stop at this headline. As you will see as we go through their predictions, this is not entirely accurate. Proof number one is their first prediction. Prediction number one says that home prices will fall by 1%. Let me read to you what they said. Quote, prices will fall 1% year over year in the second and third quarters when the home selling season is in full swing. That will mark the first time prices have declined since 2012 when the housing market was recovering from the Great Recession, with the exception of a brief period in the first half of 2023. That's a favorable shift for buyers. Prices are ending 2023 up around 3% year over year, and the typical home buyer's monthly payment is only about $150 shy of its all-time high. Home prices will still be out of reach for many Americans, but any break in the affordability crisis is a welcome development nonetheless. Unquote. Are you freaking kidding me? 1%. 1% is nothing. This is not news. In fact, I would even say that this is flat. I mean, how can you call this catching a break? The median US home price is around $430,000 right now. Let's just call it $450,000. 1% of that is $4,500. So if you buy right now at $450,000 with a down payment of 20%, your monthly payment is around $2,200 with a 7% interest rate. If we wait next year and say it did go down 1%, you are at around $445,000. And say mortgage rates also went down to 6.5%, the difference in your monthly payment is $22. Look, I don't know about you, but that hardly constitutes favorable for buyers. I mean, maybe it's just me, but that doesn't really qualify in my book. I'd like to read your comments below and see what you think about this. I think headlines or predictions like these is why, according to the recent Fannie Mae survey, it shows that 23% of Americans think prices will fall by next year. By the way, here are what the experts that I follow are predicting for the next 5 years. This is from Pulsenomics. This is the Home Price Expectation Survey. This is a great resource because it shows what experts forecast for home prices over the next 5-year period. These are projections from over 100 economists, investment strategists, and housing market analysts. And what they are saying, up 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2027. My point is not that Redfin is wrong. All I'm saying is 1% is practically unchanged in my book. Moving on to prediction number 2, new listings will tick up. Again, let me read what they said. Quote, home prices will fall because supply will rise more than demand. We've recently seen a double-digit annual increase in homeowners contacting Redfin for help selling their home alongside a small drop in requests from prospective buyers. Listings will climb from 2023's record lows as the mortgage rate lock-in effect eases. Nearly all mortgage homeowners have a rate below the current level. Many are starting to accept that we won't see rates in the 3s and 4s anytime soon, and they want to sell before prices fall. Redfin agents report that homeowners in places like South Florida, where prices have soared the last few years, are deciding to cash out on their equity and move to more affordable areas. Unquote. Okay, so let's just put this into context again. I don't have visibility to what they say is a double-digit annual increase in homeowners contacting Redfin for help to sell their home alongside a small drop in requests from prospective buyers. But I believe that this is true because the same thing is happening to me and other agents that are in my network. The key here is in the second paragraph. Listings will climb from 2023's record low as mortgage rate lock-in effect eases. Does that mean the days of limited inventory are over? I mean, doesn't that make you wonder, are the days of tight housing supply behind us? The short answer is no. Context is important. While you might see headlines saying inventory is up, data also shows there are still significantly fewer homes for sale than it would be usually in a normal market. Check out the graph that I have here. This is what we are buyers. And while these numbers are just for October, it is basically the same for other months. I've used this analogy before. It's like going 120 miles an hour and then slowing down to 110 miles an hour. Next prediction number 3. Home sales will increase and end the year up 5%. They said, quote, in the first quarter, existing home sales will be on pace for 4.1 million total in 2024, up from an annual pace of 3.85 million for the fourth quarter of 2023. Sales will continue rising throughout the year. They'll be on pace for a total of 4.5 million by the fourth quarter. Home sales will speed up throughout 2024 as affordability improves and more homes hit the market. Overall, we expect 4.3 million sales in 2024, up 5% year over year. A crucial difference between 2024 and 2023 will be sales gaining momentum throughout the year instead of losing momentum, unquote. I do agree with this one primarily because pretty much all the forecast that I have seen is saying that we should see an increase in activity next year. Again, context. One is that we are coming in from really low numbers, so it's kind of logical that the only way to go is up. The second thing is that if you are a home buyer or a home seller, this technically doesn't affect you. We are just talking about the number of transactions. What you should be concerned about is inventory, demand, and mortgage rates, which, by the way, I'm going to have a next video on that. Which brings us to their fourth prediction. Mortgage rates will steadily decline but remain above 6%. They said, quote, we predict the average 30-year mortgage rate will linger at 7% in the first quarter, then decline throughout the year. Mortgage rates will fall to about 6.6% by the end of 2024. The gradual decline in rates combined with the small dip in prices will bring home buyers some much needed relief, unquote. I already gave an example earlier about prices going down and mortgage rates going down. For the most part, I agree with this. It is the much needed relief that I take issue. It goes on to say mortgage rates are likely to remain well above pandemic era record lows because financial markets increasingly believe the country will avoid a recession in 2024. The Fed will likely keep interest rates at their current level at the start of the year, even though inflation is largely under control. But then they're likely to cut rates 2 or 3 times starting in the summer, which is why mortgage rates will decline as the year goes on, unquote. I agree with this. Only caveat I want to make here is that for this to happen, no other unforeseen circumstance should occur. I'm talking an escalation of war all over the globe, another pandemic type of event, or a huge natural catastrophe. Think earthquake if you're in California. Also, fires. Next prediction, number 5, change will come to the real estate industry. I'm not going to expound on this because I don't know what will happen. Whether it will be good or bad will depend on how consumers look at it. Okay, prediction number 6, renting will lose its stigma. This is what they had to say. Quote, demand for large rental apartments and houses will climb as more young families embrace the renter lifestyle. We're already seeing signs that young people are redefining the American dream. Nearly 1 in 5 millennials who responded to a 2023 housing survey believe they'll never own a home. For some, renting is not a choice. Nearly half of those survey respondents said homes for sale are too expensive, and a similar share said they can't afford to save for a down payment. But others just prefer renting. 12% said they aren't interested in home ownership, and 7% said they don't want to put in the effort to maintain their own home, unquote. It goes on to talk about other stuff, but you get the picture. Yeah, this is another thing that I don't buy into. The reason people rent is because they cannot afford to buy a house. For them to say we're already seeing signs that younger people are redefining the American dream, that seems like a stretch to me. I have my own survey to counter this from Bankrate. People were asked about the achievements they believe represent the American dream the most. The answer showing that owning a home still claims the #1 spot for Americans today. Look at the graph closely. Owning a home is more important to people than retiring, having a successful career, or even getting a college degree. Now you might say, but is the dream of home ownership still alive for younger generations? generations? A recent survey by 1000 Watt dives into how the two generations many people believe would be renters, Gen Z and the millennials, feel about home ownership. Specifically, it asked if they want to buy a home in the future. The resounding answer was yes. And this is why they said yes. While there are plenty of reasons why someone might prefer home ownership to renting, the same 1000 Watt survey shows that for 62% of Gen Z and millennials, it's that your place doesn't feel like home unless you own it. Maybe you feel the same way. That emotional draw is further emphasized when you look at the reasons why Gen Z and millennials want to become homeowners. For all the financial benefits of home ownership provides, in most cases, it's about the lifestyle or the emotional benefits. I don't know if there's a stigma attached to renting or not. I personally don't have any issues with that, nor do I care if someone is renting. But this is all about the American dream. No one dreams of being a renter forever. Prediction number 7. I don't know if I was going to comment on this or what, but since it's here, let's go. Their prediction is that Biden has a housing problem which could hurt his re-election bid. This is what they said. Quote, home prices are up more than 20% since President Biden took office. That's a problem for his re-election bid. A recent poll found that 65% of voters disapprove of Biden's handling of the economy, with lack of housing affordability likely a major factor. Even though the overall economy is strong, high housing costs are making many Americans feel poor. That's especially true for young people who don't yet own a home. And even though affordability will become less of a problem in 2024, many Gen Z and millennial voters will be playing financial catch-up for a while. We expect President Biden and his opponents to make splashy housing policy proposals to try to lure voters who are unhappy with their economic prospects. Democrats are likely to focus on subsidizing down payments for first-time home buyers, promoting inclusionary zoning, and funding housing vouchers, which are all popular with liberal voters. Republicans are more likely to focus on reducing regulations that limit development, unquote. Are you freaking kidding me? The least of Biden's problems of getting re-elected is housing. But I do agree that it will definitely hurt his chances. The second part of that prediction is what Redfin thinks the Dems and the Republicans will likely focus on to solve the housing issue. Down payment assistance and housing vouchers will not solve the problem if you don't have anything to buy, especially true here in the Bay Area. Realistically and logically, the only way to solve the housing shortage is more inventory. The problem is that it's not that simple as well. Even if you were to remove all the regulations limiting development, you can't. Take for example here in California. Our utilities are maxed out. Our water resources are dwindling. We need to update these infrastructures to be able to sustain huge developments. We can't rely on already crumbling infrastructure. Hey, thanks for watching. My goal for this video is not to say that Redfin is wrong with these predictions, but merely to put it into context so that you can see the full picture. I'd like to read your thoughts below.